There's one thing that will keep your colony extremely strong and do very well. And you know what it is? It's the queen. So many beekeepers have queen issues. You're going to have queen issues. I'm going to have queen issues all year long. Get ready for it. But today I've got something I want to show you. Whether you're a new beekeeper or you've been keeping bees a long time and you're still going to face these queen issues, this little gadget here may save the day for you. It's really cool because sometimes when we introduce a new queen, she's not accepted. Remember last year I did some tests on that to see how bees would accept a new queen, how they would accept their own queen. We even found that in one colony, even after we pulled their own queen out for a week or so, they wouldn't even accept her when we reintroduced her because they already started the process of raising their own. So anyway, look at this. I want to show you what this is. Now, this is something that you should have in your toolbox because you're going to lose your queen. I know you're not thinking you are. Some of you are brand new beekeepers and you're saying, no, I've read all the books, David. I read your book that you and Sherry wrote, so I'm not going to have a queen issue. I've watched a lot of videos. I know how to keep my queen strong. No, it's not. You're not going to be that fortunate. It's just a natural occurrence. The queen can die of natural causes. We can accidentally kill her by mishandling the frames, not even know it. And sometimes she is superseded. The colony doesn't like the amount of eggs that she's laying, so they go ahead and kill her off and take an egg and raise a new queen to replace her. One of the ways that you want to monitor your queen is simply to look at the brood area of the capped brood, and you can see if it's a solid brood pattern or is it kind of spotty, or how many eggs is she laying. In the season that's getting close to being in full force now, I want my queens laying a minimum of 1,500 to 2,500 eggs every 24 hours. That's what we need. Now, this is really important. Sometimes we have to introduce a new queen, and sometimes a new queen is not accepted. Believe it or not, you will pay good money for a queen to be shipped to you. You will get it, and let's say, I'll give you a few scenarios. Let's say, number one, you're replacing your queen because largely, let's say you don't like the disposition, you don't like the temperament of your colony. It's too defensive. And so you want to replace the queen so that you can get a more calm group of bees in there. And that really does work. If you get a bee that has a queen that's very calm, her offspring is going to be calm. Then after 45 days, all the defensive bees die off and all the new bees are from the new queen. They're going to be much calmer. But sometimes when you introduce a new queen like that, the defensive colony, they will kill the new queen that you introduce. Even after you remove the old queen and waited a day, they might still kill your expensive queen that you introduce. Or maybe you just lost your queen and you need to introduce a new one and you're not sure if they have a queen started or not. They can still kill the queen. Like we made some videos last year where I made videos showing you that when I pulled a queen out after about a week and introduced her again, they were ready to ball her and kill her because they already started the process of raising a new queen. All right, let's talk about this introduction cage. This is called a queen introduction cage. Now, guys, before I tell you how to use this important tool to have in your toolbox, I want to encourage you. Bobblehead David says, please subscribe. We are approaching 109,000 subscribers. I appreciate that so much. Give me a thumbs up. It will help my video get out to more beekeepers that want to have answers like this. Let's get back to talking about our queen introduction cage. Basically, it's a way for us to introduce a queen that we pay good money for into a colony that is queenless, and we want that new colony to accept their new queen. So these things are really cool, and they have little legs on them. And boy, there's a pointed side that goes into the comb. Need to have that pointed side up like this. And once we get all the legs in it, and what we are going to do, and this is really important, here's a little door for the hole here where the queen, you may want to put her in there. Where do you put this in the hive? Let's say that you are introducing a new queen and you want to introduce her under this queen cage. This is what this is. Now, your queen will come in a cage, and I would say most of the time, all of us introduce the queen in the cage that she comes in. we remove the cork or the plastic cap. The bees eat through the candy, and away comes the queen, and she goes forth and does her work. But sometimes she isn't accepted well. And so many of you might be buying expensive queens from breeders that are doing more work with making queens that are more resistant to mites, and you pay more money for those queens. And if they're bred that way, you don't want to lose one with a bad introduction because you paid too much money. Some of you buy breeder queens for hundreds of dollars, $200, $300, $1,000, $2,000 for a breeder queen. I don't know. And you don't want to lose her just because the bees don't like her and they kill her, right? So one of the ways that you can ensure that your queen gets accepted and you don't waste time and money is to purchase one of these plastic push-in queen introduction cages. Now, where do you want to introduce this cage and the queen? You need to find a frame of brood that is ready to emerge. That's critical. Here's the ideal frame that you want to find. It's a frame that has brood, capped brood, and they're starting to emerge. And at the top of this frame is a bead of honey or pollen. And what we want to do is find that combination of a little bit of honey at the top of the frame in the brood area and get a little bit of the brood that is in the process of 20 days old or 21 days are starting to emerge. You want to punch this into the comb with these little legs, where inside of here, you're going to have a tad bit of honey and a tad, maybe half of it, of brood that's ready to emerge. Why are we doing that? Because we want a little bit of the honey so the queen can eat it while she's there. She feeds herself when she's hungry. Or also we have a little bit of the brood that's ready to emerge, because remember, I've taught my students, citizen scientists here, that when these bees emerge, they're actually going to, in 6 days, be producing royal jelly and start feeding our queen more of the royal jelly. Queens just eat royal jelly their whole life. When they get hungry, they'll eat other things, but they like to be cared for by their retinue with royal jelly. So these emerging bees in 6 days will be taking care of the queen. There's several ways if you want to introduce the queen that you can do it. One of the ways is that if you're bold enough, you can take the queen, pick her up, and put her in the hole here after you punch this in the frame. Another way that you can do it is you can take the top off of your queen cage and hold it into that hole, and it will go down until it's flush where nobody can come out. And you can keep it there, and that way it will allow the queen to come out, and she'll go down in here, and over time, it may take a little while, but she'll come out and go in here and be cared for. So what's going to happen once you introduce this queen? Oh, and there's one other way that I heard about that I've never tried. Leave a comment below if you think this would work. I wasn't sure about telling you about this, but I heard somebody say that what you should do is wet down your queen and the attendants in a queen cage. Wet them down really good. And you know, bees that get really wet, they can't move. And they're just so wet that they don't move. So you can wet down all your bees in the queen cage and dump them out as soaking wet bees. And then you can pick up the queen, put her on the frame, and punch this in there. I'm not really fond of that. And maybe it would work fine. I've had plenty of bees that have been soaked on the outside of a hive from a rainstorm. And you know, as soon as the rain's over and the sun comes out, yeah, they look dead. But as soon as they dry off, they're back to business. So I think it would work, but I just can't bring myself. I'll do an experiment when the weather gets better. I'll do that. I'll wet down a cage with attendants and a queen in there. We'll wet them down really good, soak them, and then we'll monitor them and see how that goes. Because if that works, that would be an easy way to handle your queens, because they're not going to fly off. Yeah, you wouldn't think a queen would fly, but when they're in a cage like that, they're not fed as well and they can become flighty. But nonetheless, once we get the queen either administered underneath here through this hole, and then we put the top on it, or if we wet her down or drop her on a frame or something, and then just kind of make sure she's on there, we can push these down. And that way she can be contained in this introduction cage. And I think you should leave her in there 7 to 10 days. And so this will allow the queen her pheromones to get more spread out throughout the hive, and that they'll be less likely to kill her when you introduce her. It does pay to think about this, because when you're introducing a queen in a maybe a plastic cage or a wooden cage, the reality of the pheromones getting out throughout the cage or throughout the whole hive very quickly, it's not going to be really fast because you need a lot of bees to be getting in next to her, absorbing her pheromones. And when she's in a cage, it's not going to be as likely to be done as if when they're passing through this material, getting around her more in a more gradual way, they can disperse more pheromones. So this is a good way when you're really wrestling with, oh my gosh, I don't know if they're going to accept my queen. Some colonies, now leave a comment below if you've had hives before where you've introduced a queen, they killed her. You introduced another queen, they killed her. There's no queen, there's no cells, there's no virgin queens in the hive, no cells in the hive. They just won't accept a queen. You got to go to this. This is a good way to do it. I know some of you are going to be asking me right off the bat, is this a way I should introduce my queen in my packages? No, you really can't. If you're a brand new beekeeper and you don't have any drawn comb, there's no way to make this attach to foundation only. So that won't work. It has to be a drawn comb that you push this into. And again, you need the resources of honey and a little bit of open or a little bit of brood that's about ready to open. You need that under here to feed the queen and these nurse bees to be of age in 6 days after they emerge to take care of the queen as well. So even if you have drawn comb, this still would not work on installing bees in a package because you don't maybe have the resources in the comb underneath here. Now, if you did have the resources, it might work, but you still need the brood that's about ready to emerge, and you're not going to have that in a package. So I'm saying on a package introduction, that's not what these are for. These are for the troubled times or just a safety measure that you may take when you buy a queen to make sure you can use those, punch them in, and introduce the queen. These are really good. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can purchase these. These would be handy. Like I said, you may be thinking I'll never need these, but boy, it's going to be nice to have in your toolbox when you need it. Remember, guys, I'm here to help you make fewer mistakes and keep healthier bees. And things like this really do help us. Another thing that helps us a lot, listen closely, it is doing a proper mite test for accuracy. A lot of beekeepers are making the mistake of not really getting an accurate number when they do a mite test. I just made a brand new video, in case you haven't seen it yet, of how you can implement some techniques to get a very accurate number on your mite test. Watch that video right here. I'll see you over there.